Hey guys, I decided to give this game a shot actually in the beta. I was actually really skeptical when I was just looking at gameplay, like from like E3 and things like that. 'Cause I felt like it was going to be very basic, and it is pretty basic for the most part. But the game actually does have a layer of depth I was not giving it credit for until I actually played it. Um, For Honor pretty much uses this, if you see in the HUDs, three-directional combat where you have to pretty much pick a direction and you could either do a heavy or light swing in that direction. You could kind of mix it up within combos, and you also have to move in that direction to block, and use the heavy attack to do parries at the right time. So it's a lot of trigger movement, kind of like Dark Souls like in some ways, I guess. But it's definitely nothing like Dark Souls. It just uses the same buttons for attacks. So if you play Dark Souls, R1s are your lights, R2s are your heavies, and that's pretty much where the similarities end. Each character seems to have one straight combo, and that typically is kind of what you're looking to fish out from other people. There's really not like too much more depth as far as that goes. There's also hit confirms that can be made off blocks. I mean, off grab breaks, which or guard breaks, I should say, which is what you just saw happen here. To me, he got a confirmed up heavy, which is pretty cool, and I got a confirmed side heavy. So those are guard breaks. That's pretty much to get into people who are blocking way too much, which is pretty interesting. But first, I want to look at some other things that you might not have seen through E3. The first thing I wanted to look at is this right here, which is the customization. I was actually really surprised by this. This is one of the reasons what made me want to get the game. I'm always a sucker for customization, and this right here, this customization in this game, it not only gives you a bunch of different things that you could use for each character, but that stuff also increases as you level up. You could also grab something, like if you saw the stats, those only go into the minion mode and the 4v4 deathmatch modes. Um, but if you wanted to just do it for the aesthetics, you can. But like, what's cool is if you do like something that has stats, you could use that, and as long as you have other pieces of equipment within the same tier list as the other one, you can change the look to get the same appearance that you want. Like for instance, you'll see right here with my warden, this is when I went up to Prestige 3. When I go up to here, see I have a bunch of rare hilts. All those hilts I could change to look like whatever I want, as long as they're also rare. I cannot change it to a lesser class, and the same thing goes for higher as well. Like if I had like a heroic or a rare helmet, I can't go down to, I can't, or if I was a rare, I can't go up to heroic is what I'm trying to say. The stats don't seem to really help much as far as it goes in the 4v4 modes. They're mainly kind of helpful, like the throw distance I noticed, but for the most part, there's such a big disadvantage along with them that I don't even really honestly think it's worth it. Now going back to the combat, I really I'm at a mix here with it because obviously this game's peer to peer. That's something to look out for. And the reason why I say look out for it is because this game is so reliant on timing that peer to peer really starts to rear its ugly head. With other fighting games, for instance, like let's say Tekken, if you're doing a peer to peer match, or even Street Fighter, if you're doing a peer to peer match and you're doing your combos at the right time, like you mastered the timing of your combos, you're not going to necessarily drop them. But in this, you'll notice that there is something wrong, like you won't go into your cancels and things like that, because this game is so reliant on timing on a certain like window that you have to press, that if there's a peer-to-peer issue, you will notice it. And it's really unfortunate because the game's really fun otherwise. With that out of the way, I'm not even going to really knock any points off because of that. Um, I'm going to talk about the idea of the combat. My character is Warden, the one I like to use, and his whole thing is this thing called Vortex Rush or whatever. And the way that works is basically every time I hit somebody with a light, I could go into this shoulder charge and cancel it into either a grab or whatever. And if you saw there, I actually did the shoulder charge off a like a dash, pressing X. So that's kind of interesting. Other characters have like a headbutt, which is a warlord, who I'll get back to later. and they all have their own little like interesting trait to them. There's some assassin classes that are really fast attackers, kind of a glass cannon sort, and they could also do sort of like an infinite combo as long as their first hit lands, and it kind of gives you this like really hard thing to deal with basically because it's just non-stop attacking. Mostly this game is really just fishing out, trying to fake your person, that you're fighting to get like a better hit off. You could also do feints and go into something else by pressing circle. You can only do it at the beginning of a swing though, and it makes you glow blue, so it kind of gives people a warning what you're about to do. Now, speaking of characters, here's pretty much the list. Each faction, knights, samurai, and Viking, have 4 characters. One seems to be a vanguard type, which is the raider, the kensei, and the warden. Then they have like a shield defensive type. They have like an assassin type. Then they have kind of like this combo dealer. And for the most part, they're pretty balanced. They all have a pretty cool niche. And then some are really, really broken. So with that being said, would I recommend getting this game? I'd say yeah. And I actually recommend getting it now-ish because I feel like with a game like this, there's 2 things that could happen. Option 1 would be that people end up realizing that this game isn't all that cracked up to be. They leave it, and then there's no community to play. This is pretty much a solely online game. I mean, I know they have a story mode, which I'm not even going to bother adding to the review because it's pretty ass. So there you go. You already know that that's not a reason to buy the game at all. If you were thinking, oh, I'm going to have a great single player experience and maybe play against the AI, you're looking at the wrong game. Okay. So, the community is the main thing, the main life force of this game. If you get it now, you'll at least find a good amount of people around your level going in, because this game does have a bit of a learning curve. It's not like any other fighting game I could really reference. And if you wait, you're only going to get the straight up competitive people. Now here's where option 2 comes in, competitive. This game has a lot of balancing issues, and one thing that I haven't mentioned is the 1v1 duel matches. Their maps are the worst. They put you in 3 different arenas per level. They put you in an arena style with no environmentals. They put you in a hybrid, which is a mix of environmentals and arena, and then they put you on a bridge part. Now, as you can see, certain characters can draw you a great distance, so it pretty much gives characters like those 2 good rounds, and you basically have to hope that you get them in one of the hybrid rounds and in the arena round. But it pretty much gives them a free round, and it basically shows that Ubisoft is sort of catering to people to play like this, and it's really just unfortunate. I really hope that doesn't become a main fixture of the game. Other than that, the game is great, and I really think it has a lot of potential, but don't be surprised if the competitive play becomes just 2v2 brawls. I really enjoy the game personally. I just kind of wish more for it. It's just really deflating when you see a game catering to a certain play style that actually is kind of like not learning the game and just kind of going for one thing. Throwing people off a map is basically just pressing square and then pointing the stick towards that area and then pressing square again. It's really unfortunate since this game already has such a simplicity to it that you just have to learn one combo string, maybe what your zone distance is, like your attack range is, and really just work on opening up people and kind of learning other characters, one trick pony type combo system, and just going from there. So with that being so simple, I just think that having duels the way they are is just such a detriment to this game, because it's like the game's already pretty simple. You don't need to do that really. It just brings the wrong kind of people in. Overall, I would give this game an 8, but after playing it more and more, I'm starting to think it's maybe more like a 7, 7.5. It's not an awful score by any means. It's just, I'm not sure where this game's going to go, and it's really a matter of if Ubisoft would support it. They did great things with Siege. I'm pleasantly surprised by what they've done with Siege. So use that as an example if you need to. I guess really it's just up to Ubisoft if it's gonna come together or not, or if they're gonna keep supporting it. I guess only time will tell. Other than that, I mean, if you want to give it a shot, it's definitely a unique experience, and I highly recommend it. There's always Redbox and things like that. You could, definitely give it a try because it's definitely a unique, very unique experience. But that's pretty much it for me, guys. Hopefully, you got something out of this video. If not, at least you didn't get an aneurysm playing Warlord.